Hello again, everybody. Some folks might remember a while back I had a new tool alert on this little strap wrench I made here. That's made from some 8-ply radius plywood. I made this one with a bandsaw. This is the wood right here it comes from. It's this one's ply is a little different, but basically same stuff. It's used to make rotary stamps. It's just a real high quality plywood. You could use straight plywood for this, it really doesn't matter. But I like this so much that I decided to make some more of them. The first one, you can see it's all chewed up because I've used it an awful lot. But I just cut a slot in the back of it and then tied a knot in the strapping and hit it with some super glue. But this one, I mean, it's still got the original strap in it. Works great. So I decided I'd improve on that. And just real quick, the strap that I'm using, it's from a retractable dog leash. And you can see right there, the weaving on this stuff is really fine. I believe this particular type of dog leash, it's made for small dogs. It didn't even have a brand mark on it. I think it was I Heart Dogs or something. But dog leashes are made, you know, the dogs like to chew on them and stuff, and they rub on the concrete when you're walking the dog sometimes and stuff like that. So they make it out of some pretty good quality material for the strap. So that's where I'm getting all my strapping now, is from dog leashes. You just go find some stuff that's got a real fine weave to it, and that'll last the longest. So here is the second version of this. You can see this one's a lot smaller than the original one. Once again, they're for tight spots. The original one started to crack right here, and I would just, you know, when it would crack, I'd get some super glue in the crack, that Harbor Freight super glue that I'm fond of. But this one, I decided when I made it, I did it a little different. Instead of using my bandsaw to cut that V, I actually used a drill bit and drilled through the wood to get that nice round there, and then I hit it with some rough sandpaper and applied the super glue generously all over that end, and hopefully that'll keep it from cracking. But if it does crack, I'll just shoot some super glue in the crack and then you know, clamp it in with the clamp. And super glue takes a lot longer to dry than a couple of seconds when you use a bunch of it. When I apply super glue to stuff, I usually let it sit for at least a couple hours before I'll put more on or use it. And the thing that's different about this one from the previous one are a couple of things. I didn't cut the notch in it. Let's see if you can see, quite as far down. And basically what I did is I put the strap in there, and it would stick out about that much out the back of it, and then I would hit it with some super glue right in the base where it you know, slid down into the slot I cut. And after that dried, I would fold over this top piece, hit it with a bunch of super glue, and once again throw it in the clamp, let it dry, and then I would do the same for this side. Fold it over, get some super glue in there, hit it with the clamp, let it dry, and then lastly I would do this side, fold it over, hit it with a bunch of super glue, let it dry, and then after that I would go ahead and really kind of gob on that super glue to make sure it's secured in there pretty good. And I don't think that's going to pull out of there no matter how much force I put on it. And the other thing that I've found that is good for these little strap wrenches, and also using your straps in general, I decided I wanted a little bit more friction on the end of the strap. And if you look closely in there, you can see there's a type of glue in there. And this makes a wrench that it has a better grip right there on the end. And the wrench, unfortunately, the wrench doesn't want to slide up the root. I got to unwrap it if I want to move it up the root a little bit. But how I do that is before I apply the glue, I get in there with a pin or something sharp, and I sit and work up the weave. You know, get a bunch of little loops pulled out, and then I will use this stuff the E6000 glue. It's really stinky, used with adequate ventilation. But I basically just put a little drop of that glue on there, then get it on something hard and scrape it with a piece of plastic and get it in there. You can see this one, I've used it a little bit. It hasn't gotten too chewed up yet, but eventually it will. And the strap is really not replaceable in this one. Once it wears out, I'll just make a new one. But I got, I don't know, many hours of use out of this one. And the neat thing about these strap wrenches, let me a little bit about how I use them. Say my finger is a bunch of wire I'm trying to twist up. And that fits in there real nice. And the nice thing is that most of the time when you're using a wrench to twist some wire, well, it would actually be this way. You're going to have a wrap underneath there and you're going to, twist. But in really tight spots, this comes in handy because I can do this. Get it on the side of that. So yeah, I'm loving the strap wrench. There's a bunch of different ways you could make this. And once again, wait for your glue to dry, like that E6000 I was telling you about in there. You don't apply that to the end of your strap wrench and then use it an hour later. You let it dry overnight. Make sure it's really dry, because otherwise if the glue's not completely dry and you actually use it to try and twist something, you're gonna smash some glue in between your wires, and that's not going to be fun. But you can see the little bits of aluminum are even embedded in that now, and eventually this coating will wear off of here, and then I'll just go ahead and reapply some more. But yeah, I'm really liking these strap wrenches. I think you can see the size difference, making them smaller so they can get into tighter and tighter spots. Eventually, when you make them too small, they're just going to blow up, crack, and fall apart when you use them. But hey, if it gets me through one tight spot, I'm happy. I didn't spend a lot of money or time making it. So, enjoy. Happy twisting.